Hi everybody. This is a synthesizer that I just finished repairing. This is the Moog Minitmoog that was built around 1975, 1976. It is actually a deluxe version of their synthesizer called the Satellite. This has a couple of extra features on it. It has a second oscillator, whereas the Satellite just has a single oscillator. But it also has another cool feature called touch control, which you see in modern synthesizers all the time now, but it's basically a pressure-sensitive control on the keyboard for things like modulation of the oscillator, filter cutoff, pitch, or sync. But yeah, I actually rebuilt that to get that to work again, so I'll give you a little demo. So underneath the entire keyboard is a thing that's called the touch sensor bar, which is a metal tube, and the inside of that tube is conductive. The outside is coated, so it's not conductive. And that tube actually sits on a strip of conductive nylon, and under that piece of nylon is a bare wire that goes across the whole thing, and that rests on top of some foam rubber. So the entire system creates a large variable capacitor. The actual touch circuit starts off, it creates a waveform, 100 kilohertz wave that comes out as a square wave from a 4011 quad NAND chip, and then that gets actually filtered down to a triangle wave, which I guess they do that to remove harmonics, just to give it a more pure frequency. And that is fed into, ultimately, that frequency is fed into the sensor bar. So when you press a key, you're changing the surface area of the two plates in that large capacitor that spans the keyboard, and that variable capacitance is then turned into control voltage, and in this case it's controlling hard sync of it's actually controlling the pitch for oscillator B, and then that is hard sync to oscillator A. That's how you get that that type of control. Let's see, pitch, filter, modulation. You gotta select vibrato or tremolo. Let's try tremolo. Tremolo's not as apparent, but it's there a little bit. The sensor bar in the synthesizer, when I first got it, it did not work at all. The foam rubber was completely dry rotted. The nylon strip was no longer conductive. However, I could touch those two leads together just with my finger, and I was able to get the effect to happen. So I knew electrically it should work. So I bought the equipment to rebuild the whole sensor bar assembly, and yeah, luckily it worked well. So this is the conductive nylon tape I used. I think I just got it on Amazon for $4 or so for an entire roll. And this is the weather strip I used for the foam rubber. It is just regular adhesive weather strip that is 3/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. And then, yeah, just bare, I guess it was like 24 gauge wire I used. Well, I hope this explanation helps you out. A lot of these that are still out there in the wild, they usually don't have this touch response thing working, the touch sensor. Anyone that I've ever seen before, they are not easy to calibrate the oscillators either, especially oscillator number 2. Because when it's not enclosed inside the synthesizer, it just really goes wild. It kind of plays like a theremin. If you, get anywhere near the ground reference, the pitch just goes wild. So it's really hard to calibrate that. But yeah, overall, real happy with how it came out. So get in touch if you have any questions about that. If that's something you want to try on your own Minitmoog synthesizer. Thanks.